Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on episode of Side Flick. My name is Chris. Some things that have been happening here the past couple of weeks in the movie space. We're going to be discussing how Jamie Lee Curtis has wrapped on Halloween, and so soon, John Cena cast in the next Looney Tunes live action adaptation. Another Spider-Man villain has been casted in the Sony spin-off universe, along with some updates concerning upcoming Marvel movies. That along with so much more. So I'm going to need you guys to give me your opinions with everything we discuss here today. I just want to say thank you guys so much who have been showing all the support for the latest Batman videos. Reading all your guys' nice comments on that video has made my day, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying the movie series as I'm going through all the Batman films. Couldn't be more grateful to have an audience like you guys, so let's just go ahead and dive into some movie news. But before we continue on with that, I want to go ahead and thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN is a service that keeps your online identity safe by encrypting all information sent between your device and the internet. But aside from keeping safe on the internet, there are other benefits to using Surfshark VPN. When using their service, you can go ahead and change your location to any place in the world, granting you bigger access to services like Netflix or any other streaming platform. Like here I'm in the US, but if I use Surfshark VPN to put myself in the UK, I can now watch The Office in UK Netflix, one of my favorite comedy shows that I've been missing on Netflix. Not just that, but if I also place myself in another foreign country, I have access to adult Disney Plus. Using Surfshark VPN, I can now watch a little bit more mature content on Disney Plus that isn't available where I'm at. The great thing about them is they also offer a mobile app, so you could do this off your phone. So I encourage you guys to use the link in my description and use code 3CFilms. That way you can go ahead and get 83% off, but also 3 extra months for free. So again, code 3CFilms using the link in my description. Thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so starting off here, it looks like as of yesterday, Jamie Lee Curtis, our Laurie Strode, has wrapped her filming on Halloween Ends. Jamie Lee Curtis took to social media to go ahead and post a couple of photos that she's taken as she was on set of Halloween Ends. She goes ahead and comments by saying, "A bittersweet end for me on the Halloween movies. I've made great friends and have collaborated with wonderful artists on these 3 movies, and today my part in the film has completed, and with it, the end for me of this trilogy. It's all because of the fans who have always supported me, and more importantly, Laurie and the creative team at Blumhouse." We even got a little behind the scene video that might be a little spoilerish here of her walking out and showing us the sign that says leaving Haddonfield. I would not be surprised if that street sign is the last thing we see at the end of Halloween Ends. That feels like a poetic way to end the movies, isn't it? Is us leaving Haddonfield for the final time? But we gotta talk about this here. Halloween Ends has only been filming for, as far as we know, like a couple of weeks, maybe even a month. And while the Halloween films usually do take only about 2 to 3 months to complete shooting either way, I do think it's kind of interesting that Jamie Lee Curtis is already all done with her scenes. She was a character that a lot of people missed in Halloween Kills, but for obvious reasons, she was on bed rest. It's also interesting that she notes that this is her final goodbye to the Halloween franchise. Now, we have heard that before, but I tend to really believe her here. Whether they do decide to make another Halloween movie long in the future, I do feel like this will be the last time we ever see the Laurie Strode character. She's been resurrected and reset in different timelines too much that I feel like she just kind of wants to put an end to it herself. So I wouldn't really say this is a spoiler as us, oh, she's obviously dying because she only filmed a little bit, so she gets killed early on in the film. For all we know, maybe her schedule is very busy and she had other projects in the works, so they had to film all of her scenes right away, and now they're going back to do the rest of the other shoots. At least that's what I'm hoping for, because I really want Halloween's to kind of be a Laurie-centric movie and it to be the final show-off between her and Michael Myers. How are you guys feeling about Jamie Lee Curtis already being done filming Halloween Ends? Do you think this means the demise of her character, or that she just has little screen time? Something else that happened here in the week that I was jumping up and down about, but I was too distracted with other stuff here, is John Cena got cast in the next live-action Looney Tunes movie. You guys know around here, I am a big fan of the Looney Tunes, okay? I was someone who still likes Space Jam: A New Legacy. Anytime you can bring me the Looney Tunes on the big screen, I am gonna be there for it. And here with the Hollywood Reporter, it says John Cena to star in Coyote vs. Acme for Warner Brothers. Now, Coyote vs. Acme has been a movie that's been in the works for the longest time, and if you don't know too much about it, basically it's gonna center around the character of Wile E. Coyote, who is finally fed up with the Acme Corporation always selling him faulty devices that end up backfiring or exploding on him, so he takes them to court. I think it's such a brilliant idea for the Looney Tunes, so meta, and James Gunn is also one of the producers of this film. It's being directed by Dave Green, the person who brought us Earth to Echo and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. From other reports that have been coming out, it looks like John Cena might be playing the villain of the film, so I'm assuming he's maybe the attorney who's representing the Acme Corporation and wanting to take down Wile E. Coyote. As far as what we can expect from John Cena, he had this to say about the movie. "Man, I'm very fortunate because it's a different role for me, so I can't wait. A lot of audience members have a different different perspective of what I can offer, and that's really a tough hill to climb. Acme vs. Coyote is one of those situations. I'm really happy that Warner Brothers gave me an opportunity to be involved with something that, like I said, it's a different role for me. So hopefully it will have the same results as Peacemaker. It will be a chance to hone on my craft on something a little different. I'm really excited for it. I'm really hoping for good things with this Coyote vs. Acme movie, because you guys know the Space Jam discourse was not all that great. A lot of people didn't end up liking that movie, and for reasons I can completely understand, but when it just came to the Looney Tunes side of things, I was so into it. And this feels like it might be the last ditch effort as of right now for the Looney Tunes to make a big return and possibly have more movies. So as long as they can focus on the actual tunes themselves, give us a nice meta fun story, hopefully we can see more Looney Tunes in our future. But that's where I throw it off to you guys. How do you feel about John Cena being cast as a villain in the next Looney Tunes live action movie? Next up here, we got an update on the Kraven the Hunter movie that Sony is still hard at work on. They have finally cast another iconic Spider-Man villain here, with Deadline reporting Kraven the Hunter White Lotus breakout Fred Hetchinger to play Chameleon in Sony's Marvel pick. The Chameleon was someone we knew was going to be cast in this Kraven the Hunter movie because in the comics, Chameleon is the half-brother of Kraven the Hunter, who is going to be played by Aaron Taylor Johnson in this movie. And as far as this actor being cast, the only thing I really know him from is the Fear Street trilogy, where I think he played that role very well, so I'm fine with him being the Chameleon. I'm just honestly more excited to see the Chameleon himself in a live-action interpretation. He's one of the earliest Spider-Man villains who's a master of disguise, always impersonating different people and sometimes even using tech to mimic the powers and abilities of others. I feel like the movie will probably do a thing where they'll turn the Chameleon as the villain for Kraven the Hunter, have a little brother versus brother situation, but the cast isn't looking so bad. We also had Russell Crowe, who was cast as their father a couple of weeks ago. I'm just still curious if audiences are going to show up to Kraven the Hunter the way they show up for the Venom movies. I know I'm going to be there, but will everyone else be there? How are you guys feeling about the Chameleon finally getting his live action debut in Kraven the Hunter? Continuing on with the Marvel train here, we got some official looks at Lego sets for Thor Love and Thunder, giving us our first look at the villain and some characters for the movie. Now it's kind of crazy that these are official releases. These aren't really like leaked Lego sets that we've been seeing for other movies, which should kind of let you know Marvel is preparing to release this trailer very soon, and with the Batman around the corner, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens today or maybe even tomorrow. But with a lot of this merchandise officially being released, we're seeing here some character designs that look, I'm still getting used to the mostly blue Thor here. I'm sure he'll maybe look amazing on screen, but right now it's just not doing it for me. I think the Jane Foster look is amazing. I think it's also cool that we get our first look at the two mystical goats part of this movie, named Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder. These are some wild creatures that Thor can use to go ahead and travel across the galaxy. But probably the thing that most people are talking about here is Christian Bale's villain of Gore the God Butcher, because we get an idea of what they're going to be going for with his costume, giving him kind of a gray, sickly face with an all-white suit. Now, these Legos never do all that much justice, so this is barely our first look, but people have noticed he is wielding a black sword. And this isn't just any black sword, it's actually known as the Necro Sword, and it's very well known to comic book fans because this sword is actually made up of a black symbiote, like the kind that interact with Spider-Man. I'm gonna be really curious to see if Marvel goes ahead and gives the symbiote origin to this sword, or they'll just say it's another type of black liquid, just because of the possible connections to Spider-Man and other spider-related characters. I can't wait to see how it's all handled, but I want to know from you guys, how are you feeling about the look of Thor Love and Thunder? It feels like it's gonna be just as a wacky and crazy movie like Ragnarok was. Some people love that art style, other people hate it. Let me know where you fall. Another thing that's been a heavy conversation topic lately is Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. With us obviously getting Patrick Stewart returning in the role of Charles Xavier in that movie, people have now started to wonder, will we see other X-Men characters from those early 2000s movies pop up, or just those characters themselves? And we do have here a semi-reliable report letting us know we can pretty much expect to see Wolverine show up in Doctor Strange 2. This is coming from reporter Joseph Declemere, who I'm not that familiar with, but is a writer for the Illuminati team. Now, you guys know Illuminati we have used on this channel plenty of times. They have given us a lot of right information in the past, but just like any news outlet, they have gotten wrong here and there. In my book, I would still consider them more reliable than most sites, so it's kind of the only reason I'm paying light to this, and he went ahead and let it be known we will see Wolverine in Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, but it definitely won't be Hugh Jackman. Now, to unpack this a little bit, it kind of doesn't surprise me that Hugh Jackman won't be showing up in the MCU anytime soon. If he does, hey, I'll be cheering and clapping. But from the behind-the-scene reports that we've gotten is that Marvel has tried approaching Hugh Jackman, but the man is just really done with the character. He seems very happy with the way Logan ended off the character of Wolverine and isn't really interested tempted to maybe open that door up once again. Which sucks, but I also don't blame Hugh Jackman. If you ended things in such a great way like you did with Logan, yeah, I'd be afraid to open up that door again. Nevertheless, this is Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. You gotta start setting up the X-Men because we're getting them pretty soon, and whether you want to admit it or not, we're gonna get a new Wolverine that isn't Hugh Jackman. So with Patrick Stewart there by his side, I could see a Wolverine popping up. The question is just who it's gonna be. Popular choices have been people like Taron Egerton. I'd be very happy with that. Daniel Radcliffe, odd choice, but you know what? I could maybe see it if he packs on some muscle. To me, it's really just gonna be how do they incorporate it. If it's just gonna be a guy who kind of has the hairstyle of Wolverine and some metal claws, okay. Because I have a feeling any of the X-Men that we're gonna meet in Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness, even if it's Patrick Stewart, that's not our MCU X-Men that we're gonna get. Those are just variants, alternate reality versions, and it's just nice to see them, but we'll be getting our own version in the MCU sometime soon, and they're just really there for nostalgia, which isn't bad, man. I saw No Way Home 5 times in that theater. This is where I throw it off to you guys. How do you feel about someone like Wolverine popping up in Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness, but he's not played by Hugh Jackman? But that is all the movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Stay tuned for all the other Batman reviews. Next up is Batman Forever with good old Riddler Jim Carrey. And also be sure to support the sponsor of today's video, and that is Surfshark. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.